Welcome to Coffee with Ronnie. If you've never been here before, welcome. I'm Ronnie Walter. I'm an artist, I'm a writer, and I'm also a coach for artists to help them get their head around the kind of work they want to do and the kind of work they want to bring out to the world. So hello and welcome. I do this every Thursday live on Facebook, and then at some point I edit it and put it onto YouTube. So there's a YouTube channel over there where everything's compiled into one tiny little package for you to sit and watch or listen to while you draw amazing pictures. So welcome to everyone. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you. If you're on YouTube, thank you. And of course, I'd love it if you subscribed. Then you can make sure you see all the new stuff as it comes out. I'm having one of those couple of days where I have a few things going on, like projects that are really mind-bending kind of projects, like not my natural state of being. And I was telling my husband that it's like when you get the Christmas decorations out and you see the box of Christmas lights that you thought you were so organized by putting back last year, and you open them up and you realize things aren't really lighting up the way they should, and you have to pick up a million ends of things and plug them in and go, no, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. And then like that one, you're supposed to take the light out and switch out. Those are all my projects right now. What are those connector bits that have to go together for this all to illuminate the Christmas tree? That's where I am. That's where I am, which has required concentration, yet caffeination. Those are my two states of being these last couple of days. So anyway, that's where I am. And I'm sure you can relate to sometimes where you're like, these eye-twitching projects that just have to get pulled together. And I will admit, I don't have coffee today. I have ice water because, again, it's 1,000 degrees in Florida. So that's just the way it is. Okay, I wanted to talk about the very basic information that we often get, and I'm putting it into a category called flawed information that we believe about stuff. So let's go back to grade 4 for a moment, where people that, there's usually some kid that sat next to you that would let you know that, hey, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but if you swallow gum, it takes 7 years to digest. That was wisdom in the 4th grade. That's what we all believed. For some reason, 7 years was this critical mass of when gum would finally get digested, but it took 7 years. So if you're swallowing gum, you got a big pile of gum in your stomach that is not being digested for 7 years. And we believed that. On a related note, my sister Kathy told me, and she was in 5th grade when I was in 4th grade, so she must have known this for sure, that if you ate pencil erasers, your internal organs would disappear. That's just a well-known fact. That is something to be believed. There's no reason to check that out. That's just true. That's just true. There are people walking around that ate an eraser in the 3rd grade and have no liver right now. It's true. It's true. They're just walking around because their liver was erased. So those things we believe to be true. Now, there is an author, and he's on sometimes on news programs. His name is James Clear. And he wrote this book that I've mentioned before that I've yet to read, but details. James Clear wrote a book called Atomic Habits, and he is really fantastic. I get his newsletter. I highly recommend his newsletter. And he's gotten really succinct in his newsletters on purpose, and they're very good. Anyway, so a couple weeks ago, James Clear sent out this in his email. He talked about this topic of things that we believe that really aren't true. And he used an example. I thought this was fascinating. So there was this plastic surgeon in like the 50s that noticed that when he did significant plastic surgery on a person's face, like a nose job or a whole whatever, he noticed that it took his patients like 3 weeks or so to get used to their new look, like not being surprised by how they looked when they had a physical change in them. That he just noticed this 3-week period when he'd have follow-up appointments with them, that they would be more and more comfortable with their appearance. So he wrote a paper on this, like, hey, I noticed that in 21 days, my patients felt differently about how they looked. They were no longer surprised by this. They got used to it. So that nugget of information got passed on to the point where we, and I'm sure you have heard this because I've heard it, then you must have heard it, that habits take 21 days to be established. Like, we get too impatient, but just give it 21 days and then you will no longer be drinking Diet Coke, or you'll be walking every morning, or you will be just a better person because you did something for 21 days straight. And then that sort of locks in the habit, and the habit converts to being a decision, to just a ritual and a thing that you do, and it sort of becomes mindless. So someone smarter than me decided, ask the question. One of my favorite questions, as you'll find out, is that true? Is that really true? Like, we all say that, like Tony Robbins says it, and all these people, like 21 days, and diet people, like 21 days to a better you, blah, blah, blah. And it's all it takes is 21 days. If that were true, I'd be a freaking supermodel by now. But anyway, so someone studied that. Okay, so these people studied this notion of 21 days of habit becoming routine. Was that true? Well, as you can imagine, it's not. It's not. They studied a group of people and had them change basic things, like reaching for a bottle of water at lunch instead of soda, really basic, walking every morning for 30 minutes, that they would decide to do something, and how long it took that to become like you don't even think about it anymore. Turns out, scientifically, it's 66 days. 66 days. So, which I found to be kind of profound. For one thing, that we have all just believed this thing, and it turns out it's not true. We believe this thing, and also that if at the end of 21 days that you've done something that you thought would just lock in as something that you did without thinking, that it would become a habit, as opposed to, I have to do this thing, that at 21 days it would magically lock in like the keystone of an arch, and everything would be hunky-dory and you wouldn't have to think. Which makes most of us, we get that 21 days and go, man, I'm a loser. I'm a loser. This didn't happen for me. It must have. Everybody else at 21 days is doing this thing, or quit smoking, or whatever that is. But I must totally suck because this didn't happen to me at 21 days. So just one more thing for us to feel bad about that. But now you go, it's 66 days. So you need more of a commitment to do that thing, to make it become part of your life. To just know that that's sort of scientifically proved that it takes longer than 21 days. And also that, what's the other part? Well, just that you don't feel bad that you didn't hit this mark, this apparently imaginary mark, and it was totally anecdotal by this doctor, that you didn't magically succeed in 21 days. I thought that was huge. I thought that was a really interesting idea. And I thought about, now you guys know because I've mentioned it, is that early in my career, I worked for a direct marketing company, in other words, junk mail, and we tested everything. We could not assume anything was true until we got results back from the testing that we would do on these junk mail packages that we sent out. And that has carried with me a lot through my career, to just look at things and go, I don't know if that's true. Like, we all believe this thing, and you go, is that true? Is that true? Now, we of course have Google, that we can find out if things are true or not, because everything's true there. But let's look at this in terms of, we are creative professionals trying to bring our work out into the world. That is the basic premise of what we're doing and why we're all here gathering for coffee. We're trying to crack the nut, crack the code. What is this thing that's going to make this happen? And I am challenging you to challenge some of the beliefs that you might have that you have not proved to be true or false. For instance, now there's the highlights of these things, like artists can't make a living. You know, you might hear that a time or two from the time you were 5 and declared yourself an artist, to I'm not good enough, the market is terrible, there's not enough work for everybody. All of those things, they all may be true, but they all may be true to a degree. They might not all be true for you, unless you have somehow in some device proved that to be true or not true, like a scientist would. It's data. It's data. It's you know, when did this boil over? We knew that by adding 3 more drops of this thing. Now we know this thing. How many packages is it going to take to send out? How many different categories are you going to go after till you know that you are good enough or not good enough for the market? Or if the market truly is healthy or not healthy, there might be pockets of a market that are healthy for you. We don't know this without exploring that and going into that testing phase of how this works. I want to ask you to challenge those beliefs that you have about your work and your place in the market. So say, for instance, you have decided that you want to be on, so let's just say garden flags, that you think your art would be great for garden flags, but you're like, yeah, but nobody likes my work for garden flags. And it's like, okay, so what is your sampling of people that you have decided that this is true? Did you send 5 designs to one garden flag company and didn't get any garden flags, so therefore you're not good for garden flags? Or did you send 25 pieces to all of the garden flag companies and repeated that a couple of times in the last 12 months? Could that give you better information? Could that give you some data that would tell you whether or not that market is receptive to your work? And I'm not talking about going insane, trying to test everything at the same time, because the one thing I do know about testing is you can only test one thing at a time. Like back in the junk mail days, if we were going to send a package out with a sticker, a gold, shiny, sparkly sticker, we didn't give them a free pen because we didn't know if it was the free pen or the sparkly sticker that made them send back their postcard. If we sent a pen, they didn't get a sparkly sticker. So you have to test it based on like criteria. So using the garden flag example, you go, okay, well, I'm going to check this theory. Or you might be saying, yeah, I don't think anybody's buying garden flags anymore. Aren't they? Are they? Is that true? Is that true? How do you know that to be true without putting out your work into that market? It's really hard to sustain that activity, but that is the only way that you can really check out, and the only way that we can test whether our work has any viability in the market is to be in the market. So I just found that whole thing about habits, and that actually someone tested something that was a belief. I mean, we've all believed that. There are all kinds of books that start with 21 days to clearer skin, shinier hair, smaller bodies, you know, whatever that is, and they will use that premise because we have believed that to be true. And now that we know it's 66 days, now I'm sort of mixing things here, but if you look at today is October 24th. Where did I write this down? Oh, my husband wrote this down. I'm like, Jim, find out what 66 days are from today. Because it takes a village to bring coffee with Ronnie to the table every week. Anyway, 66 days from now is December 29th. So if there was something that you wanted to put into your routine or prove something, you got 66 days that you could say, okay, or any date on the calendar, January 1st, 66 days from there, if you want to change your behaviors or change what you're doing, you could also use that 66 days to say, I'm going to get this in my rotation to go after this category. I know those two things don't necessarily relate, but yeah, we're going with that. And so I encourage you to look at the beliefs that you have. I'm not good enough. The market is terrible. And find out, always ask that question, is this true? And think about your beliefs as theory. Theory. It's like, I think that's true, but do I know that for sure? And the only way you know that for sure is to test and to prove yourself right or wrong. And I think that is just, and the other thing about that is it takes the emotions out of it. It's data. It's yes, this worked. No, this did not. And then you rework things to see if it's the sticker or the pen. You do not know that until you try the sticker and the pen. So analyze those results and really think about the things that you believe to be true, but have no evidence to the contrary when it comes to business. And it might be eye-opening for you. I hope it is. I hope it is. It's been eye-opening for me when I look at the things that I do and go, wait a minute. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know that. I need to figure that out. Sue, yeah, just say no to limiting beliefs. And I think it's a little different than limiting beliefs, because we can believe, well, I guess it is limiting beliefs now that I think about it. Yeah, that we're saying like, this is true. This will always be true. This is just the truth. Now, there are certain things we can know are the truth. Gravity, for one. Cupcakes are not a long-term diet solution. We know certain things. That was a huge revelation for me. But yes, I mean, when you look and go, and I'm going to challenge that. Challenge everybody else's beliefs, just your own, and just say, I need to know if that's true for me. And that's the only way you do that. Sometimes you just don't have enough evidence. You don't have enough evidence. You go, yeah, nobody's ever liked my work for licensing. And you think, okay, well, how many people have seen it? How many categories have seen it? How long have you been doing this? So you can't, sometimes it's premature to decide that you're not right for something. And then there comes a point where you go, I'm right. Sometimes you want to be proved wrong. When you say, oh, the market's terrible, don't you want to be proved wrong by that? You want to be proved and say, oh, well, I just found a little tap of a market that's doing really well for me. And so, but we only know that by testing and going out there and putting ourselves out there. That's it. That's all we got. So, and I advise you not to swallow your gum or eat an eraser, for sure, because those things are true. Let me just bring up a little side topic, and that is a lot of people are trying to do print on demand right now. To me, print on demand is an excellent format for testing designs, for testing price, for testing which categories people are interested in, and but it's a long game. It's a long game. Until you have a whole bunch of eyeballs on that stuff, you can't really know that. So you're testing, you just kind of start with your hunch, you start with your best effort. It's like a hypothesis, like scientists do. They're like, like the people with the habits. Is that true? Is that true? So when you are testing products, whether that's print on demand, it's things in your Etsy shop, or it's potential licenses, it's always an evaluation. And it's when we get into the emotional spiral of that, I suck, I'm not good enough, all of those things, when you think about the emotional part of it, that's when you have to go, that could be proved one way or the other. I mean, yeah, you might suck. Maybe you're, okay, I'll edit that one out from YouTube. But maybe your work isn't up to professional standards yet. Don't you want to know that? Don't you want to know that so you can improve? Don't you want to know where you're kind of wonky or wobbly in the marketplace? And you can only know that by getting feedback and from getting responses from other people. And like I said, it's a long game. This is not for the I figured this out in 3 weeks kind of thing. It's more like I figured this out in 3 years. So I suggest another form of income if you can. But I am a big fan of testing things and not assuming things to be true when you don't really know that. David, if you swallowed gum and chewed erasers, I can't even think about what may be true for you. And then you have the whole eating the school paste. Oh, that's when your innards get glued together. If you eat the school paste, because remember, I don't even know if they have paste anymore, but back in the day we had paste that actually tasted really good, and everything would glue together. So I can't help you there. Amy says, I had a career coach a few years ago, and this was an exercise that she had me do all the time. Is this true? How do you know it's true? Those are like some classic perfect questions. Sue says, I've decided to take the winter to try testing the theory that showing one type of art is better than showing a combination, i.e. abstract art, intuitive marks, etc., and representational abstract expressionism, still lifes, animals, etc. I think that's a great thing to do. That's a great thing to do. That's the only way you know. I mean, as people with creative, active brains, sometimes it's hard for us to put something on the shelf and just say, I need to test this theory. I'm going to do this and enjoy it and stay there for a little while. And then you can start introducing things. It's kind of like, okay, what if it's not a gold sticker, it's a smiley face sticker, and some have a gold sticker and a smiley face sticker, and one has a gold sparkly smiley face sticker. I mean, those are the kind of things you can start introducing and go, okay, now I know this to be true. Now, that is always it's not like a forever thing. I think this 66 days to a habit is probably fairly, that's going to stand the test of time. But because we also have the movable parts of taste levels and style and trends, that is the X factor. That's the part we can't really quantify, but we can quantify a lot of it. And that's where we need to be. That's where the business part of our business comes in, to really start to know those things. Because companies don't just, that's why they have people in rooms testing, blind taste tests of new sodas or lotions. Oh, that burned my arm. I'm not using that one. And so this is what we do. We just do it on a different scale and but I think that's a fantastic idea, Sue, to really test on an equal footing. Like, let's go back to the garden flags. Say you do a collection that is very painterly, and then you do one where you take almost those same concepts and do them in a more digital style, and see if that resonates with people. You can start to see that. And if you want to sell your work, you will drift one direction or the other. If you are a fine artist, you just go and you don't care about sales, you're just going to paint when you paint. But if we want to make this a part of our income or all of our income, we have to think like Pepsi thinks, except, the bad chemicals part. So exactly, Ronnie. I refuse to believe that I had to limit my art, but I know it's true. I don't know if it's true or not, but I love to do it all. Active brain, yes, but it is limiting my success by doing it all. We'll see. And do report back. I would love to know the results of that, but it's something that we avoid, but it is critical to our growth. So I found that fascinating. And like I said, do follow James Clear, and I am actually going to get his book. Really good stuff. And I know this for myself because I started in June to do morning pages. I know the Artist's Way book has been out for 25 years, and now I just started doing morning pages. Hello. But I started that in June. And at first it was like, I have to do this, and this is hard, and blah, 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 and I'd skip a day or whatever. But once I committed to it, so that is about, 66 some days ago, it is so routine for me to pick up that notebook. It's always on the coffee table in the morning, and I do it in the morning, and it has become a very easy thing to put into my morning. It doesn't feel like I'm adding something. It doesn't feel like I'm adding a chore. It feels like I'm adding, or I'm just enhancing this beginning of my day. It's making the beginning of my day better. I have proved that to be true. I have proved that to be true by doing it for this amount of time. So that is fantastic. So I prove these people's theory. If anyone has any questions for me or think of a topic you would like me to explore, I'm happy to do that. The other thing is, and just FYI, I'm kind of behind on the interviews. I have a few people that are sort of out there that I'm planning to do, but things just got in the way and people's schedules have not jived. But if there's anyone you would like me to interview, just shoot me a DM, or you know how to find me. It's just not that hard. Email me at ronnie@ronniewalter.com and let me know, and I'll call anybody. I will. I've proved that over the years that I'm not afraid to make a phone call. So I will end this now. If anyone has questions as we go, have at it. I'm here. And if you're watching on the replay again, thanks. Glad you're here. Glad you stayed till the end. Not like there was a big prize at the end or anything. But anyway, I will talk to you all soon, and stay hydrated, my friends. Okay. Bye, kids. Bye.